After rolling from the high banks of Daytona, just a little bit drives down, we head to Homestead-Miami Speedway for the round number 2 of the Outsiders Racing League 2022 A season. Fantastic action to happen at Daytona, but for more different style racing on the intermediate tracks, which we got quite a few of this season. But honestly, I couldn't think of a really better mile-and-a-half to start at than Homestead-Miami. You can see up there the marks on the walls. Guys are going to be rim riding it all night long, trying to find every inch of speed they can. My name is Finicuna here with Connor Horn. Connor, I have no one else better to announce it with you than you. Glad to have you in the booth with me.
I appreciate it. I love Homestead-Miami, and I'm excited to do this with you. One of my favorite tracks on the service because it's just so raceable. In any car that you come here with, you can really run almost any line. You have the bottom right down to the white line. You have the bottom seam, which is probably going to be the preferred line tonight, but you can also rim ride right against that outside wall. I hope to see a few drivers at least try it. I think it's going to be really fun to watch.
Absolutely here, and already guys out there on the track qualifying for the event already, so we'll not waste too much time here in the pre-show. We'll head down to it. At the moment, Mitchell Welker in the 76 starting, looking like he's going to start on pole, provisional pole at the moment.
We'll have to see a few more drivers to go. He was very fast in practice, P6 to be exact, but a 10th off of the fastest driver in practice, which is Brian Chamblis, which is actually, not to be rude, but a little bit of a surprise to see him that high up on the leaderboards. Usually a sort of a mid-pack driver, not much. He hasn't really been competing in ORL as of late. He's been on the admin side of things, but it's nice to see him top of the board. I hope we could see him at the top of the board in qualifying. That would be great to see him.
Yeah, not sure if he changed the paint scheme up from Daytona. I think it's the same paint scheme, but the spec map he's got on the gold parts of that car look absolutely awesome in the Florida sun. And that's of too, we should mention, we're running in pretty much broad daylight. I'm not sure the exact time in sim, but imagine some point midday. Nice, bright and sunny, which could lead to some interesting racing. We'll take a look at your weather here in a little bit, but taking a look, still it's Mitchell Welker up and tuck. Ryan Carlisle looking like he's going to hold on to second place and already off to a very consistent start, the defending champion for the series.
Yeah, he had a really good, strong championship campaign, was able to take it home pretty convincingly. One of the more dominant drivers last season, maybe not winning as many races as past champions, but he was at the front pretty much each and every race, and consistency won him that championship as he finished his qualifying run at 33.490. That's good enough to stay second place, starting strong so far. Trying to look at anyone else who's putting laps down. Jeff Wright, who goes third, excuse me, on the leaderboard at 4.86, and that was only his first lap. So imagine how fast his second lap could be if he doesn't lose it right here. Yeah, and he does. Yeah,
I was going to say, it's going to be maybe a little bit slick out there. Not too terribly hot in the racetrack. I'm actually a little bit surprised by how not hot it is, being in direct sunlight. Only 99 degrees on the track. We'll see how that goes. Connor, could you check what time it is in the sim?
It is. I was about to note that. It's only 99 degrees, but it is early. Sim time is just before noon. So we're going to see this track. It's going to get much hotter. We're going to see those track temps rise. I wouldn't be surprised to see it rise at least another 10 degrees, especially with cars being on the racetrack, heating it up even more. It's just going to get more and more slick out there.
Cervato saw a qualifying run for him in the 33 car in 5th. Looks like he's going to end his qualifying effort today there. Trying to take a look at anyone else on the track. Robert Gava currently running around in the 14th position. 1 lap to go for him. Eddie Trejo just put it in a lap. 14th on the board for him.
Going to be starting about there. Not many more drivers are going to put up a time. Casey Lucatis, Doug South, Ricky Williams, Michael Hurley all have put down times, but they are not on the track, so they won't put down any times. Really, not many other drivers trying anything. Gava's still out there practicing. Same for Eddie Trejo. Looks like everyone else is done.
Yeah, Eddie Trejo slowing down on his cooldown lap. Notably, looking at the board, number 40, Zach Buchanan is joining us here tonight. Friend of Mitchell Welker, I mentioned, with the other drivers for, I believe, what is it, American, what is it? I keep forgetting their team name off the top of my head. All-American iRacers, that's the name of the team. Along with Doug South, Mike Hurley. I see Ryan Kish as well in the Discord. I'm not sure if he's on the track. I think he's going to be. He is on the track?
He is. He's actually on lap 2 right now. I don't think he's going to get around. He's not going to get around to put another time down. You can see he's been into a wall with his right front. You can't see, but it looks like he's just trying to get a practice lap in late, and that will end qualifying.
Indeed, qualifying going to come to an end here. We're going to get ready slowly to grid our field. Just about 23 drivers on tap for tonight. May not seem like a whole lot, but it's a very stacked field. I'm looking at all the names here. These are all guys I would expect to run midfield near the front. So we got some great talent on tap for tonight. I expect some really hard, really fairly clean racing. I was going to say very clean, but fairly clean racing. We'll see how the tempers flare. They're going to be as high as the track temp, as much as we expect it to rise over the course of this event. Let's get down to the grid here. We'll get through your starting lineup here in just a little bit. And let's start it off here. I found the grid. I was looking for the grid button last week. Finally found it again. There we go. As we mentioned, it's Mitch Welker starting on pole. Next to him, Alex Bell going to be lined up in second place in row number 1.
That's last week's winner, by the way. Those two separated by 1/1000th of a second, by the way. Very tight qualifying. The row behind them, row 2, Jeff Wright and Ryan Carlisle, two very strong forces in ORL over the years. And row 3, AJ Cervato, another strong force alongside Chad Klinger in the 09.
Indeed, looking forward to see what they can do. Off from row number 4, it's going to be Eric Hutton in the 88 machine. Andrew Telganov going to be starting in the 3 car in 8th place.
I'll call him Teleganov just to piss him off. I think he really does like that. And then the row behind, row number 5, Brian Chamblis, strong in practice. Not as good in qualifying, but still top 10 run. He's going to be strong, no doubt. Chad Bloom in the 99, all 9, row 5. He starts P10.
Indeed, looking to see what they can do from that position. Rolling off from 11 is going to be Ray Massey in the number 23. Matthew Close lined up in the 12 car in 12th place. Jonathan Hernandez has been rolling off 3rd in the 13 car. In 13th in the 8 car. Eddie Trejo in 14th in the 21.
And the 75 of Robert Gabo, long time comer into the ORL season here. P15, Ryan Kish going backwards alongside him. He's P16. David Amott Jr., long time admin here. He's 17th with a 33.764. Ben Laughter starts alongside him in the 64 machine. He's P18.
Yeah, moving on back another row. Zach Buchanan rolling up 19th, last of our 19 qualifiers. Everyone else lining up based just off of iRacing. Sorry. In 23, find Casey Lacatis in the number 50. In behind them, Doug South in the 21 with Ricky Williams starting in the 5 in 22nd. And rounding out your field at 23 is going to be Michael Hurley in the 32 car.
It's going to be fun to watch. I'm excited to see how different the racing is because we've been here in the Cup cars with the 550, the high downforce package, and it was intense racing, but it's not going to be similar to this. We're going to see a lot of slipping and sliding. The 3 previous winners here, I don't believe any of them are in the field. Adam Cabot, Zach Halpern, Nolan Hodgson, none of those guys in the field, so definitely a new winner coming. We'll see who can outlast each other today. These tires are going to be difficult to save.
Indeed, field rolling through turns 3 and 4. Field in control of Mitch Welker. Hard turn for the pace car off on a pit road. And the green flag's in the air. We're in green here at Homestead-Miami. And as the field rounds out of turn number 4, it's going to be Mitch Welker taking a solid lead ahead of Jeff Wright in 2nd place. It already started to pull a little bit of a gap.
He slid a little bit out of turn 4. I think he's trying to open up the gap as early as possible and try to maybe maintain that. Good move by Jeff Wright. Good start. Got him to the 2nd position over Alex Bell. Everyone else just fanning out, trying to find their place in line.
And taking a look at Ryan Carlisle, started in 4th, currently back in 5th. It's allowed AJ Cervato to sneak his way on through to gain 1 spot. Everyone already going for the bottom lane. Not too many guys seem to be working on the top. Imagine that's going to change, especially once some of the rubber gets laid down.
Yeah, those tires wear, and once those tires wear, that's really when you see drivers searching for different lines, and I think we'll see that as long as we get these green flag runs. We'll see drivers searching the top, searching the white line on the bottom. We might even see drivers maybe in the middle, more closer to the middle. We already do see one driver trying that top lane. It's Matthew Close in the Bernie Lytics number 12 machine.
Yeah, I already saw a little bit of a slip. I'm not sure if that was from the 15 or the 33 of Cervato, a little bit loose off of turn number 4. And again, not too terribly surprised, a little bit warm on the track, a little bit slick. Taking a look back at a track temp him again. We're going to keep an eye on this all night long. It's going to be 101 track time at the green flag here. We'll see how much more the sun is going to heat up this racetrack as we go further on. Ryan Carlisle sitting in behind Chad Klinger. Dropped another spot, it seems. Klinger has moved his way up one more.
Klinger on the charge a little bit. Carlisle maybe trying to be conservative on those tires, dropping back a little bit. We're going to see comers and goers at the beginning of this race because you're going to see drivers maybe overdriving the tires, just trying to get as many spots and as many positions as you possibly can early in this one. And then you'll see drivers maybe potentially like Carlisle dropping back and just trying to keep the tires cool for the end of the run.
Battle for position here. David Martin Jr. working to the inside of Robert Gaba is able to sneak his way by. Also saw Zach Buchanan working on his teammate, the 42, of Ryan Kish, that red car at the bottom of the screen, works his way on by. Now working to the inside of Ray Massey is also off to a fairly slow start, actually very slow start. Dropped 6 positions in the drop of the green flag. You think this is on purpose, or do you think he's conserving his stuff, or you think he's just struggling to find pace at the moment?
I think Massey's fast enough that it could be him conserving his stuff, but you don't want to conserve yourself too much to the point where you're dropping to the rear of the field. There's kind of a fine art to it. You want to drop as much time as possible to save those tires, but you know, as much as you might hate to do it, you almost want to do it while you're in the way of everyone else. If you can hold a bunch of people up and get it done, that's the best case scenario. But obviously, you put yourself at the risk of getting completely dumped because it can really frustrate the guys behind you. You don't really want to lose too much positions doing that.
Yeah, absolutely not. Chad Klinger working his way, was trying to at least work his way to the inside of the 15 of Alex Bell. Couldn't quite find a way on by. And now working to the outside of the 15 off of turn number 4. Seeing guys get a little bit loose off this side of the track. It's going to be a little bit dangerous, but is able to get the run. We'll see if he can do anything heading to turn number 1.
We'll see if he wants to pinch or maybe he goes to the way high line. I think he is going to try to pinch that 15, but Bell's going to drive it in hard, trying to slide back up in front of that 09, and he does it successfully. I think Klinger maybe wanted a crossover. He's going to try to do it. He has a little bit of a run, won't get there in time to do much of anything. He'll take that look to the inside. It can be frustrating to race Alex Bell at times, one of the more aggressive drivers you'll ever see on the track.
Yeah, we see someone trying to do the Larson line. Well, not really the Larson line, but working up there is the number 12 of Matthew Close, trying to get some decent run on the outside lane. It looks like it's got a decent amount of speed there, so he's one of the first guys I've noticed trying to move his way up there and use it to his advantage. Still looking at Chad Klinger, though, not entirely clear of the 15 who's come back, and even Ryan Carlisle looks like he's having a little bit of a look up the middle, and Klinger also trying to get to the inside of the 48.
Klinger clears Alex Bell. Bell will stay in line as they sort of stacked up on the outside line. Carlisle lifts to Telganoff, trying to not get into the back of him. Eric Hutton there, Chad Bloom. Matthew Close got into the bottom line now. The one thing about running the top line so early, it could really hurt those tires if you run it too early up there.
AJ Cervato also moving his way up the order quietly. He didn't really cover. He passed a few guys. Already trying to have his sights set on Mitch Welker, who's been breaking away slowly but surely from the rest of the field. Last lap by, not his best, but one of the fastest cars out there on the track. AJ Cervato, the only car faster than him, it seems, by a few hundredths of a second. So Cervato trying to at least chase down the 76.
And we're still not really seeing the track widen out too much. Close the 12 machine back to the bottom. And pretty much everyone else right there, keeping the right sides on that very bottom seam. Cervato trying to close in for the race lead. Was slower by about a tenth than Mitch Welker there, as everyone sort of gravitates towards that seam. Alex Bell, now he tries to way top. Matthew Close back up there, somehow running a lane higher than Alex Bell.
Yeah, Bell a little bit loose mid-corner. He saw a little bit of a wiggle from the car. Didn't quite get the run off I think he would have liked. His 71 is still side by side there.
Yeah, he really didn't get any sort of run there. Carlisle got alongside him, and he kind of just stayed alongside him. Bell had no drive off and made that pass pretty easy for the 71 machine to make. It's a little bit of dooring action. Telganoff gets doored down the racetrack by Bell.
Yeah, I'm sure that was on purpose, just maybe these guys fighting for the same big piece of racetrack, but Telganoff now working his way through the inside. And he started in 8th place, trying to work up to 6th if he can get clear of the number 15 car on the back straightaway, looking like just about maybe able to. About a fender clear, not exactly. 15 putting up a fight.
As much as he can, but he's starting to drop back a little bit here after he sort of gained some spots early. Telganoff clear for the 6th position. Bell slots in line right in front of Eric Hutton. Chad Bloom on the bumper, sort of stacking up for that position.
And now working his way to the inside. Ryan Carlisle on the inside of Jeff Wright. Battle for 4th position on track. And there's that little bit of a run off the corner. But these guys not really quite able to get that run. It seems maybe the track temp, just being too hot. Not enough grip on the outside lane.
It could be a potential factor, but these tires still aren't really that worn. It's only been about 12 laps. He still might not see that until lap 20. It is still an if that happens. It might not come in. Depends how the track reacts to heat and all that. So we might not see that come in, as you see these drivers maybe moved up a little bit further than they were at the beginning of the race, but still not way up there like you might expect at a track like Homestead.
Ryan Kish ripping the inside lane, almost knocked the camera out. Riding the white line. Everyone else, as you mentioned, mostly about a lane up, or so you can kind of visually see there. Everyone was kind of riding that white line before. Now they're all kind of moved up a lane up the track as the tires, they're not getting too worn out, but definitely not having enough grip to really maintain that lane around the bottom.
We'll see if that changes maybe in about 15-20 laps time as we get closer to pit stops. By that point, Jeff Wright's moved up a lane or two. He's trying to get something to work there, but just losing too much center to justify getting that runoff on exit. Just really not enough center speed from that top lane right now to be effective for anything.
Yeah, and trying to work his way. And also, this is now the best time, honestly, in the race to try to experiment early in the run. If you try something that doesn't work out, you may lose a spot, but it's early in the race. You have plenty of laps to try to get that back. 120 on tap tonight. So try to experiment now, see what works, see what doesn't work. And you also again, with the dynamic tracks, you always have to keep trying to figure out where's the best lane at the moment, because it constantly changes lap after lap a little bit here and there. So you got to adjust to the changing track conditions, as we see some guys more often exploring. We saw Bell earlier. He's still trying that top lane a little bit, but not quite finding anything, as you see Eric Hutton in the background getting past.
See what type of run he can get. He does get a decent run that time, but unfortunately he had nowhere to go with it. Hutton had already filled that hole right there, and Chad Blue just gets back in line. Bell's going to try to make it work through 1 and 2. It looks more effective out of 4 than it does out of 2, which is surprising to me. I expect it usually in past. I've liked it in 1 and 2 more than 3 and 4, just too bumpy on the top of 3 and 4. Although that right now, that run, he does get a better run on the 99 that time, and better on the 88 as well. So we might see it start coming in, but it still seems he's just not fast enough in the center to justify running that line.
Yeah, I think he's trying to make it work. Or maybe it could be he's just trying to, put some rubber down maybe for later. It's not much, one car running up there. We can almost say it's almost next to negligible in how much of an effect it has. But every little bit counts, I think, and trying to at least figure out something. Maybe see if it's how much it could be worth later on. Eddie Trejo saw a little bit of swap position, fighting with Jonathan Hernandez, Robert Gaba, in this kind of second pack of guys from 12th on back.
You were saying it a few moments ago. This is the best time to experiment. Top, bottom, middle, apron if you're crazy. It's the best time for you to do that. The worst time for you to do that is when you're at the end of a race. Maybe you're second place, running the leader down, but he's running your line. You have to try something different. That's the worst time for that to happen, because you're likely, at that point in the race, you're likely not to find anything faster than what the leader's running. And you really don't want to put yourself in that position to the point of where you're trying every lane, trying to catch someone when there's just not enough time left.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's not enough time left, and every 10th counts trying to catch him. But here, you lose a 10th. Probably going to get a caution or something later on. There's so many laps, so many things can happen. You can gain that back easily. So now's the time to play around, to mess around. But most drivers electing that bottom lane. Jeff Wright seeing slide up more and more up the track, more or less in the same lane as Alex Bell, and Talganov and Hutton still running that bottom lane. But that top lane going to be good enough for Wright to barely clear the 88, who's still working the bottom.
Yeah, early in a run, about the only good thing it might be for is maybe defending, as it's hard to pass down there no matter how slow the top might be. It's great for defending if you're up there, but that time, both these drivers are starting to get much better runs off the corners than they were 5 laps ago. Big
run for Jeff Wright off the corner, had to dive to the inside so he can use the momentum. Going to clear the number 3 of Telganov, so it looks like starting to see maybe a little slight change. Not necessarily the top's preferred, but starting to come in a lot more into its own.
I think Jeff Wright's making it look more effective than Bell is, though, right now. Bell can't really get to the 88 like the 48 did, and let alone past the 3, which the 48 just did, as Bell is up the racetrack, really trying that line. Matthew Close once again back up there. A few more drivers still trying to make it work.
For the lead, getting a lot closer now. Andy Cervato catching up to the leader, Mitch Welker.
Alex Bell's going to dive below Eric Hutton in the background. That's a big send. He's trying maybe a slide jump, but there's nowhere to slide but in the door of the 3 machine, and they do touch a little bit, but they're both able to save it, and now Bell's stuck back on the bottom.
So we can take a quick look at that. Coming off of between turns 3 and 4. Just a slight little tap, nothing, no harm, no foul, really. It looks like they're swapping positions yet again here. Bell telegon off Hutton. Oh, Bell starting to slide up the track, has to get off the throttle. There goes telegon off Hutton, waiting in the wings.
Oh, and he almost tried to come up in front of Hutton. That would have caused a wreck. It's almost like into turn 3, Bell wanted to try the slide job on Hutton, but he forgot there was a car right in front of him, so he couldn't really slide anywhere but the side of the 3. He's going to try to get it working on the bottom. Hutton gets sideways. That's going to help the 15 a lot, but Bell gets very sideways out of the corner. They'll stay side by side. Bell has a little bit of a hole if he wants to try to make this work again.
Great scrap here, all from 5th all the way back to 9th. Slowly breaking away from this little battle as Bell chucks it up the inside, the outside lane, starting to get a run. Now you're seeing the 3 and the 88 both up there trying to make some headway.
It's about lap 22 of the run, and we started seeing the 48 and 15 get a little bit more ground maybe 3 laps ago, so maybe that lap 18 to 22 range, that's when you maybe want to, put that in the bank for later in the race.
For the lead, getting spicy. They've been watching the gap. It closed from 2/10 about 2 laps ago. Now bumper to bumper. There goes AJ Cervato. Going to throw it up the inside. Welker, curious to see what he can do here. Going to elect to take the top lane. We were talking about how much of a run can help you on that top, especially for defending. Looks like it's going to help Welker on this occasion, but Cervato definitely the faster of the 2 cars at the moment.
And see how quickly Cervato can get by. It's still tough to pass on the bottom here, but if you save your tires well enough, if you save the car well enough, as Welker's going to scrape the wall and lose a bunch of time.
Trying a rim ride, and that's not going to cost him just a position to Cervato. It's also going to cost a position to Ryan Carlisle. And Chad Klinger is saying, don't mind if I do, and he's going to take 3rd place away. So Welker 1st to 4th in just pretty much 2 corners after a little bit of contact with the wall. Shouldn't be really anything of too much concern. Probably just a little bit frustrated with how that went.
That's the best way you can hit the wall, just scraping it, not doing too much damage. I think his car is going to be fine and really no harm, no foul, other than the positions he lost. But it's the risk of having to run up there for speed sometimes. You run the risk of doing that. We've seen plenty of times Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick, guys that are known for running up there, do that at a bunch of inopportune times.
Yeah, we're going to turn 4 now. Hutton, sorry, not Hutton, that is Chad Blum in the 99 to the inside. It's the black 99 and black 88 look fairly similar from a distance. As he throws out the inside, going to easily clear the number 3. Talganov looks like he may slowly start trickling back. Might have used up his stuff a little bit too soon here. Now, when do you think we're going to start seeing pit stops from these guys? Lap 25 here.
80% fuel tanks. I think the fuel can go into maybe the 50s just barely. If that's a full tank, I think we might start seeing them somewhere in between 40 and 50. I wouldn't know off the top of my head, but if I had to guess, that 40 to 50 range is where we might start seeing pit stops with a 120 lap race.
Yeah, I was going to say with 120 laps, it makes sense to come around lap 40.
Yes.
Make that easily a 2-stop. I'm probably going to have to do 2 stops no matter what, unless you driving a Toyota Prius out there.
Yeah, you wish.
Yeah, no Toyotas up in front, though, for this battle. Chevy versus Ford, Cervato versus Carlisle. Carlisle now closing in on the leader, AJ Cervato. Cervato only has been up in the lead for a handful of laps, but he's already got to start looking in his mirror because that 71 is coming.
Sort of a tale of the 3 leaders. See it a lot. You got the leader at the beginning of the run, starts to fall back to the clutches of the 2nd place guy who's been saving, but not fully saving. And then the 2nd place guy gets the lead from the 1st place guy, but then here comes the 3rd place guy who was just saving the entire time. It's just faster than everyone. That guy's Ryan Carlisle right now, who looked to save a little bit better than that 33.
Yeah, you really see the disparity between people saving their stuff and people running the car too hard a lot more than the next gen and the cup cars. I feel like with the horsepower reduction wasn't as much of an importance on saving your equipment compared to this. Here you can burn up a lot of stuff, get in the gas too early, put in too much wheel, so starting to see a lot of comers and a lot of goers, and Ryan Carlisle on the move at the moment, hounding the back of that 33.
We're seeing more drivers sort of rim ride. Mitch Welker got into the wall, scraped it. He's still way up there. And Jeff Wright is trying to run right in his tire tracks. Don't really want to do that because of how the air might still affect
you can see
car.
Welker going to come past the camera. Jeff Wright as well. Bell also giving a little bit of shake to the camera as well. Really close to that top lane.
And Welker way on the top. Jeff Wright wasn't directly in his line, just a line under, trying to get any clean air on that car. As Bell's still running up there as well. He got by Eric Hutton in front of Chad Blum still, and just like that, the caution is out.
Oh, Zach Buchanan, I see slow on the front straightaway. Not sure what happened to him. We'll take a look. I have a suspicion. A little bit of damage to the right side of that car, so I imagine the source of our caution. A little bit loose off the floor. Ooh, hard hit to the outside wall. And still trying to get back control again. Locks it down, slides across. Never actually spun out, but enough to trigger the caution to come out.
I suppose that was just too big of a hit to catch there. Too sideways. You get that sideways, it's hard to catch these things. That was a good job.
Yeah.
That 64 Ben Laughter barely missed him.
Take a look at it from Ben Laughter's point of view. This is heading through 3 and 4. And you can see Buchanan. You can see the car yaw out a little bit. Looks like he's got it under control, and then it comes out a little bit too much. Laughter, didn't have too much time to react to it, but able to get by.
No, he did not. He did not have enough time. This is gonna be interesting for pit strategy later in the race. Not right now, because 4 tires for everyone is the obvious call here. But if the fuel can only last about maybe 45 laps or whereabouts, it's gonna put you tight on fuel to the end of the race. If it can go 45 laps, we don't know if that's the case yet, but it really puts you on edge if that would be the case.
Well, here we go on the pit road. Imagine every single guy is going to come on down. I think it'd be a maniac not to at this point. I would not want to be out there with 30-lap old tires. And they probably weren't due to come down in another 10 to 15 laps anyway. But down on the pit lane, try not to overshoot your box. Otherwise, you're going to be pretty far back. And considering how close the field is, that is going to cost you quite a bit of time. Casey Licata is doing his normal strategy, just rolling on through pit road.
Got to get that point.
Well, the thing is, I don't think he got the point because you don't pass out everyone until, I mean, unless he stays out another lap, but it's going to be a short caution because no one's a lap down. But I digress. It's going to be AJ Cervato that rolls off of pit lane. Ryan Carlisle in the 71 second. Chad Klinger third. Jeff Wright fourth. And Mitch Welker ran out your top 5 once Licata comes in. Again, I imagine he is. Otherwise, I'm going to be asking him what on earth he's trying to plan on doing.
Yeah, I think
after
everyone
the
would
race.
be too. Yeah, I think everyone would be too. I think that was the only strategy stop. Welker and Wright, I think, were the only 2 that swapped positions. They might not have swapped positions because Wright gave the position back. Don't think he sped, as they were dead even right at the pit road line. So I think it was just Welker getting that top, that number 1 pit stall playing into it his advantage there.
Absolutely here. Field already rolling onto the front straightaway. Licata's coming into the lead, back in the hands of AJ Cervato. As we got 1-2 green. I love the short cautions. Remember when cautions took like 3 laps? There was like 2 extra laps after, and then they finally not only fixed that, and then gave the short caution option. It was so nice.
Oh, it was awesome. I
Such
love
a
that
good
they did
addition.
that. Trying to look at drivers on pit road. Obviously, Licata's getting his tires, obviously. Robert Gaba, Ryan Chamblis, or at least Gaba might have just topped off for fuel. Chamblis was out of a car. Not sure if he's going to park it for the night or not. Nope, he's back in it. He's got to catch up pretty quickly. Dave Mott Jr. back there as well as we get ready for a restart here.
Yeah, I think everyone out here, everyone is out on the track, as just mentioned. There's the 40 of Zach Buchanan. You can still see right side a little scuffed up. Spent 1 minute, 13 seconds down in pit lane, buffing out. I'm not sure if he fixed all the damage. I want to say that might have been all of it. I don't think it's maybe too much more than that, but he is 1 lap down, so he's the first car lap down. So caution comes out, he'll get the lucky dog. Depends on how long it's going to last, because we've got green for quite a ways. See how long we go this time by. Pace car going to be off field now in the hands of AJ Cervato. We'll see what he can do off the mark. Pace car is in. And we're back green here at Homestead.
Someone got a pretty late start back there. Ben Laughter might have been playing back there. The outside line kind of not formed up there. So it'll be an interesting run to see if anyone runs different lines early in the race. We saw some drivers trying to top line early in the run, but it didn't really come in until like halfway through the run. So I think we're going to see that inside line get a little bit more clogged.
Yeah, everyone's slowly getting themselves single file. We saw this on the first run as well, but then once the tires start to wear out, then we're going to see a lot of the action going on. Jeff Wright already working that top lane, at least trying to defend from the 99. Chad Blum trying to have a look up the inside, couldn't really do anything with it that time.
Look at AJ Cervato actually posted, he noted his tire, the wear and the fall off he had in his tires. The right front 7% worse than the right rear. Oh, that's going to be really tight for Wright. It looked like he was almost about to get into the 15 of Bell, but those tires 7% worse on the right front than right rear. It's not good for a run here. You do not want the car getting tight at Homestead. You need a little bit of contact with Bell and Welker, but you need the car to rotate the entirety of the run, or else if that car gets way too tight to pick up the throttle in the center, you're going to be falling way back.
Tight squeeze for Alex Bell in the middle of this little group between Wright, Blum, and also Mitch Welker. Looks like he's going to back out of that for now. I think he's going to try to run the race at his own pace, not burn up his stuff too quickly. Meanwhile, Mitch Welker, curious to see what he's going to do. He's going to go a little bit more patient this time. He's going to block Jeff Wright all the way down to the white line. This is going to get interesting here.
It's early to be blocking like that, but track position means so much in these races. You kind of feel obligated to. If you fall that position back, you might not get by that 48 again because of how strong he's been here in this series. So you don't want to have to block early. Maybe you do, but it's such a risk to take, especially off the bumper of the 48, because he won't put up for that for too long.
I was going to say, he's one of those guys that'll absolutely put you in the wall if he needs to. Ooh, and a slide job off of turn number 2. This can get really interesting here if this goes on for too long.
Yeah, I don't think the 48 want to put up with that for too long. He dives to the inside once again, trying to not slide up into him. Gonna stay side by side out of a corner. Good run for Welker. Not enough to clear the 48 initially. He'll clear him now as Bell pulls to the side, gets some air between him and Chad Blum.
Yeah, trying to avoid any sort of side draft. Not too big of a thing with these cars, especially on an intermediate like this, but any little bit counts. As you see off of turn number 2 here, again, Welker and Wright side by side. Bring off turn 4, Cervato still your leader. Wright getting very close to the wall, man. He's starting to scare me a little bit.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of normal for a track like this, though. You have to maximize the track to be fast here. We saw a lot of that on the first run from the 76 to 48 to 15. Those guys were on it, and you have to be fast here.
Trying to see if he can gain some speed. And trying to take a look. Andrew Talgan off, I think, back where he started, if I'm not mistaken. Ooh, lost Chad Klinger for a second. He's back. Philadelphia started in 8th, running in 8th. They have a chance of that changing. Eric Hutton in behind trying to chase him down. Starting to look for some of the biggest movers this race. Not a whole lot of big movers. The biggest mover, in fact, is Casey Lacatus, up 5 positions starting from 20th. A lot of other guys, a lot of drivers moving up 4 positions. Mike Hurley in the 32, Ricky Williams in the 5, Ben Lafter in the 4, Ryan Kish in the 42, Eddie Trejo in the 21, and AJ Cervato all moving up 4 spots since the start of the race.
Cervato, the first run, he did not have clean air for the entirety of this run, and he still held the lead at the end of that run before the yellow flag. We'll see what happens this run. He's going to have clean air for the entirety if he can manage his stuff right, which is pretty big advantage. Even in these Xfinity cars where maybe dirty air doesn't affect the front end too much, it's still a big advantage on the tires to have that clean air.
Bell seeking the bottom lane on Jeff Wright. Couldn't really mount any sort of charge. Chad Blum has been sitting very quietly in the 99 in 7th place. Hasn't made a whole lot of noise. It's been picking him up and putting him down. Has he made I'm pretty sure he was at Daytona. Has he made any other starts in ORL? I don't believe so.
It's not a common name, that's for sure. Not in this series, it's not.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. I don't quite recognize that name from before, so I'm going to assume a new driver.
I don't think he was at Daytona, actually.
Oh, it wasn't? Okay. Well, he's trying to make a name for himself now. I mean, running 7th in a race like this with a bunch of really talented drivers up in the front. Really good start to his season here at ORL. We'll see what he can do. Got a lot of competition. I mean, they're all stacked. The entire top 7 you can see right there in the frame. All nose to tails. It's a matter of who's going to be able to continue this over the long haul. Saw some comers, saw some goers. Imagine a big learning experience here for a lot of these guys, just trying to figure out how much they pushed themselves over the last run, and if it was too much.
This is Chad Blum's first start in ORL, by the way, so doing a good job in his first start. Very respectable drive from him so far, not causing any problems, just running his race, and he's done a good job doing it.
Mitch Welker trying to look to the outside of Chad Klinger off of turn number 4. nothing much to do there.
Turned around on the wall a little bit there. I don't think there did any damage, but that was close for sure.
Just Alex Bell trying to defend off the 99. Starting to get a little scrappy here for this mission. These guys can't quite get separated from each other, can they? Especially Bell, Jeff Wright, Blum. Great battle last stint.
Yeah, they've been all on top of each other. Seems like this breakaway's been the norm so far, the top 7 or so. Telkinoff was involved in that, same for Eric Hutton, but it seems like those top 7 have figured out something on the short run that maybe Telkinoff and Eric Hutton have not.
See the 99 occupying most of the camera. There now, makes a dive down low. Bell gonna pinch down low in turn number 1. Running the middle of the track, gonna get a decent run off the corner, so it should be pretty textbook here, but 99 is starting to make him work for it.
Much more orderly run so far, not really much side-by-side action like we saw the previous run. Ryan Kish, Eddie Trejo sort of next to each other. Then for the 14th position, Case Lakatos restarting his climb through the field, getting by Ben Lafter this lap.
Working his way on the inside of Ben Lafter, going to get himself clear of the 64 up into 14th position.
We're seeing more drivers this is about at the maybe 12 lap point of this run. More drivers getting up to that top lane. Jeff Wright's up there. Alex Bell's been trying it now. So we saw it not come in until maybe halfway through what a fuel run would be. We still see these drivers trying to do it a little earlier than that.
Take a look at Zach Buchanan running, I think around what would have been probably 20th, 19th on the track at the moment. Just kind of hoping, praying for a caution to come out. They can get himself back on the late lap. I think for now is a matter of just managing your tires. Just don't wear them out. Don't get yourself in more trouble. As we saw him get really loose off of turn 4. Might have been pushing his car a little bit too hard, I would imagine, that first stint.
If you get that sideways, you're definitely pushing the car, I would say. There's no saving when the car is that sideways, I would say that's for sure. Once again, seeing a lot of drivers to the top now. Still these main 3, Welker, Wright, and Alex Bell. No one else behind them getting up there. Just those 3 trying to make up track position pretty quickly as the race for the lead hasn't really gone away. In fact, Ryan Carlisle's been starting to reel in that 33 machine.
Yeah, and saw the weather there, 104 degrees on the track, so slowly heating up as the race goes on. But Cervato, Carlisle, Klinger all on the bottom. Welker and company electing to try to take the top to make something happen here. Starting to get a little bit racy.
Wonder at what point, if Welker starts making time and getting the 3rd, maybe getting the 2nd, making passes on top lane, is what point, if you're Cervato, do you start trying that, maybe taking his line away?
It's getting very close. We saw last time riding on board with the 76. Got just a little bit too close to that wall, cost him a lot of time. You can see how much of an inch. Doesn't stay really too close to it on entry, then middle of the corner. On exit, you start to get a little bit closer. Actually giving some more distance in turns 1 and 2.
See what type of run he gets. About maybe 3 or 4 miles per hour faster than Chad Klinger off the corner. He kind of keeps it at that point. Klinger maybe scraping the wall in the 3 a little bit there, but no problem there. As the top 3 still ripping that white line for the most part.
Yeah, he's getting these good runs, but needs to try to get established alongside the 09. Well, at the rate he's working at, should be sooner rather than later. And actually, all these guys starting to break away. Jeff Wright losing a little bit of touch with the leaders.
Wright still trying to top line. Can't really make anything of it quite yet. Alex Bell has gone to the bottom. About 3/10 faster than that 48 machine right now. So Wright either still waiting to really go full send for this run, or he just doesn't have the pace up there. Now he dives low to that white line.
Yeah, maybe it could be he is saving stuff. And again, if you're running back here, right, you've got the leaders a second in front of you. Is there really much of an obligation to push? Probably not. So, you know, some of these guys could be just electing to just run a little bit easier, save their stuff up for later in the run, especially because we went really green. I don't see any reason for us not to go green, unless someone has trouble with a tire either going down or just getting loose, like we saw Zach Buchanan. Great run for the number 76 of Welker, gonna try to slingshot past Chad Klinger on the inside. Can't quite get by, but has arguably the better lane. We'll see what Klinger can do up top.
Gonna do a lot up top. Great run off the top. Welker sideways, and he's able to save it. I thought it was gonna be good for Welker to put Klinger in a line he wasn't accustomed to, but it worked out much better for the 09 than I thought. And the 76 has to do all that work again to try to get a run back. Wow.
See there how sideways he was, so you can get a look at the hands on the inside. Whoa!
Oh boy. Oh, he held that close at 2nd. My goodness.
Turn right to go left, right? That's the line?
I mean, at Homestead, it's usually the norm, so. That's going to be bad for Welker, though, because you do all that to get a run for that position, and you slide the tires like that, lose all that time. Now you got to do that again, and your tires are so heated up, it's going to be way more difficult to do that again. You might not have another chance at him.
Yeah, we're going to see here. He's going to have to try to build that momentum back up. Curious if he's going to go for a passing attempt again, or if he's going to maybe catch up, work on him a few laps, maybe force him into slight error, and then take advantage of him. We'll see what Welker's got planned. Meanwhile, Carlisle just hounding the back of the 33. Again, not the most flashy guy out there when it comes to wins. He did pretty good last season in the next-gen car, but again, most of his strength comes in his consistency, so I imagine he's in no hurry to get past the 33 at this stage.
Oh, no doubt he wouldn't be. He's just kind of laying, not really laying on his rear bumper, but being there just close enough to the point where it might affect that 33's aerodynamics off the turn. Maybe get the 33 a little loose, get some momentum on him. Maybe set up a pass that way. Trying to look at battles in the back. Alex Bell has finally gotten to the inside of Jeff Wright down the backstretch. They'll be side by side. How far does Bell want to send it for a slider? Don't think he's going to actually try that. Just try to outpower him on the bottom. He might just do that.
Yeah, ripping the white lane on the bottom. Jeff Wright going all the way, ripping the wall on the top. Yeah, switch over here. Wright's going to have a little bit of a run. Bell defending the top side. Wright decides not to attack, so Bell going to hold on to that 5th place spot.
Good move for Bell on the bottom, just ripping the white line and getting a better run off the 48 while doing it. Very good start to this long run for the 15, but doesn't run the top there. 48 gets a run back on him. He'll try to get the spot right back.
Taking a look a little bit further back, saw a change for position. Oh, never mind, going to go back to that. Right with a dive to the inside. Now here comes Chad Blum in the 99, working his way up. These guys getting a lot of screen time. Not sure if they enjoy having a lot of screen time, considering they just want to kind of, I imagine, just settle in lane. But they are really in a solid fight for position.
I don't know who would be more mad in this situation. I think I would, if I was in this situation, I think it'd be, if I was Bell, I'd be more mad because you just passed the guy. In my opinion, proving that you would be maybe the faster car at this point in the race, but then the guy just motors right back around you. Would probably make you a little bit upset and maybe more aggressive next time you try to pass him, but still got by him nice and clean there. See if he can pull away this time, maybe chase down those top 4 who have pulled away.
Yeah, I understand Bell's frustration too. I'm the type of guy, you know, when you get past, you know, it's like, yeah, I passed you, I'm the faster guy, you know, sitting behind me and we'll try to catch the leaders. Well, and then you feel like that guy who has all the obligation to, you know, to fight for a position. That's what you're out there to do. But, you know, you feel like maybe early on, maybe not worth it, but Wright doesn't care. He's going to try to get every spot he can. And it looks like at the moment, Bell's going to be a little bit clear. Now let's start worrying about the 99 in his mirror. And even the 3, Tolkanoff starting to come back.
Tolkanoff's done a good job with the tires. He's been charging back up there. Was right in front of Eric Hutton, but he's pulled away from that 88 machine. Tolkanoff doing a really good job getting runs off the corner to the outside of the 99 Blum this time. Might complete that pass. Yeah,
it looked like that first one he was starting to fall off a little bit towards the end when we got that caution. Looks like he's taking it a little bit easier this run. Now starting to bounce back as he easily works around the 99. You know, Jeff Wright is in his sights.
Meanwhile, those top 4 are broken into maybe 2 tandems, if you will. Carlisle's still right on the back bumper. Cervato hasn't made an attempt to pass quite yet, but he's still there, ready to pounce. In the 3rd and 4th, Klinger and Welker, they've kind of converged on each other again. Welker's finally gotten close enough to maybe even start thinking about the move for that 3rd position.
Field racing on by just shy of halfway. Also mentioned too, we're going to be dishing out points not to the top 10, to the top 7. That was a rule change for this season, so you could see the racing up in the front get a little dicier here as Ryan Carlisle close to just getting past, getting just 1 more extra point.
Chad Plum had a crazy slide out of turn 2. Don't know how he saved that. Gave up the position to Eric Hutton, but he saved a race car as they come to 2 laps before halfway here.
Yeah, I just saw him lose the position. Wasn't sure if it was just him losing it. Oh, that camera angle doesn't really do him justice here. Hang on, let's see. Right here at from TV1. Oh yeah, that's very loose.
Oh, then he had another slide trying to come back up. That's how worn these tires can get. That's how hot this track can get, because even when you save it, you're really never safe.
And actually, sorry to cut you off, and actually, we'll take a look at the track time. I should mention this is around the same time we saw Zach Buchanan have his first caution. That looked oddly similar to what happened to the number 40 car. So have to keep in mind here, this is where these guys are getting almost wrecking loose. 106 degrees on the track, so rising up is, I think, +5 since the drop of the green flag. So getting up there, it's only going to get worse for these guys before it gets better. I honestly don't think it's really going to get better. It's probably going to continue heating up until we get to the end of the race. Only 120 laps, not a whole lot of time.
Looking at the top two as they're coming to get halfway points, Cervato and Carlisle kind of putting themselves in a league of their own. 2 seconds ahead of Chad Klinger now, who are dropping back to Alex Bell and Andrew Telganoff and those guys. They come up the final corner to hit halfway. Stravato's going to get the most points. Carlisle never really had an attempt to pass. Was just on his bumper the entire time. Klinger's going to get third, Welker fourth, Bell, Telganoff, and Wright the top 7.
Yeah, so great stuff there. Not a lot of flashy action. I saw Hutton, Wright, Telganoff. They're trying to have a few exchanges of position before that, but nothing too much. So I'm also going to stay in the same order. I imagine you're going to be approaching pit stops in the next 10 laps or so. A little bit of a change in the pit stops too, with the pit stop sequence, because they're looking like they should have been able to easily do 40 laps, 40 laps, 40 laps. We only did 30 laps that first stint, and then we have the caution come out. So now they had to complete, trying to do some quick math here, they have to do 90 laps. Maybe try to divide that up, maybe one more stop. I feel that's a lot. 40, I don't know, maybe 45 laps. You think that's doable?
It's going to be tough. We did see, saw one driver come in. Ricky Williams, he came in, but I think that was just to retire from the race. Matthew Close was the first driver to come into pit lane. He's just exiting now. A little bit of right front damage, but I don't think that's why he came into the pits. He already had that, so he might be already committing to a 2-stop.
Yeah, I think you just said, might as well, because it's a big commitment, right? If you're going to plan on doing this, you can try to just come in early, maximize your tires, maximize the fresh tires, and just run like heck all the way to the end. Or you could try to save your tires, but if you're going to save your tires, you need to do it from the drop of the green flag to, from the drop of the green flag to the end of the run. You need to manage the tires throughout the whole stint. So you really need to plan that ahead. I'm sure these guys already made their beds. Now it's a matter of laying in it for the rest of this race. Curious to see who's going to be pushing, who's going to be saving.
Oh my goodness, Mitch Welker had a huge slide. I was about to note how he was rim riding so well out of 4, and then he almost binned it. I don't know how he saved that one. Things are getting really intense. Wow. And he didn't even hit the wall.
Mitch Welker, the wheelman tonight. Not sure if he really wants to be the wheelman.
Not really, because
oh my god.
Oh, that's insane. You don't really want to be the wheelman. If you're running high, you'd want to be, but he's losing time doing this.
I cannot say how terrifying that is as a driver to have the wheel 90 degrees to the right when you're right next to the wall. That is a terrifying scenario, and he's able to hold on to it.
Definitely not the feeling you want. No. Definitely not the feeling you want. And like I was saying, didn't mean to cut you off, but it's you don't really want to be the wheelman in this situation, because it's not like you're willing to get into the front. You're willing to just trying to hold on right now. He was up there in 4th position, and he's falling off Chad Klinger. He's losing the 4th position to Andrew Telganoff right now, still trying to battle for it, but looks like those tires have run their course.
Yeah, that's the thing too. When you get sideways like that, you're not doing your tires any favors. You're right on. And then you get in the wall again. It looks like you did.
A little bit. Once again, I don't think he's got much damage. That's the one rewarding thing about running up there. If you do wall it, you're likely not to get a lot of damage, because it's just going to be a scrape.
Yeah, hasn't had big hits like his teammate Zach Buchanan, so just a few little scrapes here and there. Probably not even going to register as any damage that needs to fix down in pit lane, so no real concern. Man, these guys are really close together, and I really feel like there's going to be a pass that happens, but nothing's happened so far. Carl, I can only imagine the stress that this puts on Cervato. I'm sure for me, there might be a chance he probably doesn't even care. He's just kind of running his own race. But to have a guy right in behind you for the last 30 laps, for me at least, that would be mentally taxing.
Yeah, it's going to make pit stops interesting, because Carlisle only has to beat you in by a lap, and he's going to get by you, and you're going to have to chase him down. This is the best position for Carlisle to be in, because he's basically going to control AJ Cervato's pit strategy. Probably the only thing Cervato can do is try to guess when the 71's going to try to come in, and if you undercut him, that's too bad. At least you get a gap. But the best thing for him to do is probably guess what time Carlisle is coming in.
Yeah, and really, as you mentioned, you can only guess as the leader. Once he comes in, nothing really you can do in reaction to it. So unless he's planning on looking in his mirror when they're thinking of coming to the pit. So, and you don't have to announce when you're coming to pit road. That's a courtesy typically given by some drivers. But if you're battling with someone, especially in the strategy department, you're probably not going to tell them when you're coming on down a pit lane. You're going to do it whenever you can. Should also mention too, we are using the normal pit entry for this track. Not coming off of turn 3, you're going to be coming off of turn number 4.
It's one disadvantage for Cervato. Carlisle has about 3 seconds to Chad Klinger. He doesn't have to call out his pit entry, I don't believe. I don't think that's a rule in this series.
No,
which
yeah.
I think it is in other series. But AJ Cervato, he has to, or else he's going to get ran over by Carlisle.
So it's going to be interesting here. Yeah, it's typically off the system. You know, you don't have to announce it, but if you don't announce it and you cause an incident, you're going to get a penalty your way. So as you mentioned, yeah, he pretty much is in a situation where he kind of has to. Well, though again, I think we both expect that he's probably going to try to beat the 33 down the pit lane.
Yeah, I'd have to expect to. Just trying to see what Matthew Close is going to do here. Still no one else has come to pit lane. He's the lone wolf in this strategy, which is obviously going to be a 2-stop. No way he can make it from here on the one tank. He's up to he's past third place Chad Klinger right now.
Yeah, I think we both expect he's probably going to circle out to be the leader immediately coming out of the pits, because obviously just putting that for the fresh starts work. Actually, might as well take a look at it. He's about 8 laps into his stint at the moment. Current lap time 34.6. Leader's running 35.6, so a second a lap faster. So putting in some good times here, definitely going to make up a lot of time on the leaders. But as you mentioned, committing to that 2-stop strategy.
Trying to look at the comers and goers from this run especially.
Ooh. Andrew Telganov getting past Chad Klinger here. We'll see what happened. Oh, interesting.
Klinger gave it to him.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I don't remember seeing them side by side or close to being it. So, yeah, so Klinger surrendering the position to the 3. I'm pretty sure they're not on the same team, right? I'm not losing it?
I don't think so. We'll try to look at Carlisle live. He's been on the bumper of Cervato this entire run, but he just hasn't been able to, maybe not been able to, he probably is capable of attempting a pass, but maybe just being patient. I got to point out Telganov. He's having a really good run. 8th to 3rd, one of the bigger movers of the race. He's done a really good job keeping the tires on that thing.
Yeah, again, especially compared to that first run, because it wasn't looking too hot that first run. Looked like he was starting to fall off, and now the guy rising forward. And how about also, got to mention too, Ray Massey coming out of absolutely nowhere. We saw him struggling in the back, I think drop all the way back to 16th at one point on the first few laps, now all the way up to 6th. So you're looking to be a good night forward for the 23, catching the 15 bell.
And the other side of things, I think the driver who might have worn his tires off the most, other than maybe Mitch Welker, who's got more right, he's actually got actual right front damage now, so he's going to start to fall back a little more. Jeff Wright, he was up close to the top 5, but he's really fallen off the pace. 8 seconds back of Cervato, and another about 3 seconds off of Alex Bell even at 48. He's been running the top a lot as Chad Blum really slid up in front of him there. Both of those two have been really struggling.
Take a look at that again, because that was probably a lot closer. They're like, oh, and the 99 also getting loose off the corner as well.
Yeah, that's why he slid up. He really had no control in that place.
Drivers starting to lose control. They're all hanging on. Remember, I was saying you needed to go about 45 laps. Looks like we should be able to pretty easily do that. I was expecting to see more guys starting to come on in, but everyone else stayed out. Zach Buchanan has made the trip down onto pit lane. Edge trying to fix up his car too, if not retire. But pit lane just about to start opening up here. And more or less, it looks like everyone should have enough to make it to the end. So Matthew Close is the only driver committing to a 2-stop strategy.
It is what it is for him. If he gets a yellow after all these guys pit, it could work out, give him track position. We do have a pit stop. Ryan Kish from 11th is going to pit. Another one behind him, that's Ben Laughter.
All right, so they start to come on down more or less on schedule. So I think we don't really expect anyone being close to running out of fuel. It's just a matter now of when do you decide to make that pit stop. And I'm sure the guys that wore up the stuff a little bit more, guys like Jeff Wright, guys like Mitch Welker, probably going to be one of the earlier guys down on pit lane.
Welker actually did say he is coming in this time, so it's the first driver and in the top 10 who's going to pit. He has that right front damage as well, so another reason to maybe short pit, get fresh tires early, get some track position back.
Down onto the pits for Mitch Welker. Here's see who else is going to come on down.
Ooh,
Eddie Trejo, I see down in pit lane. Jonathan Hernandez, did some blocking.
A little bit of blocking. Cervato got loose off of 2, and he had to defend off of Carlisle a little bit. See if Carlisle wants to make the move right before pit stops or not. Cervato's starting to struggle a little bit off the corners.
I mean, if your opponent's struggling, you might as well take advantage of it, the situation, right? But not quite able to get anything done that time by...
Oh, off of 4, Klinger entered the pits. He spun. He couldn't make it into the pits as he spun right at pit entry.
Oh, it's going to be awkward here. Will we see a caution?
Oh, don't go backwards. Oh, David Mott Jr.
Wow.
No yellow.
Absolute calamity. Well, we're gonna have to take some replays from here. There's Klinger going in just a little bit too hot, and then here comes David Mott Jr. coming on down.
Same thing.
Oh boy! Wow.
Wow. And meanwhile,
That
at the front,
was incredible.
that was crazy. I don't know how they didn't hit. Meanwhile, at the front, Cervato did beat Carlisle to pit road, so that's big for the 33 to be able to do that. Pretty much the majority, the bulk of the top 10 coming in. Ray Massey, Alex Bell, and Chad Blum.
Okay, so it looks like Carlisle's doing the opposite. Carlisle trying to do the overcut strategy. As you see AJ Cervato come into his pit stop, just see now how much longer Carlisle is going to stay out on the racetrack, if he's gonna come by this time.
There he comes. Yep,
Yeah.
he's coming.
Let's see. Looks pretty orderly. Ooh, I see that. Okay, yep, you got to mow down in time. Take a look. Anyone else down on pit lane? Casey Licata is getting service to his machine. Doug South doing much of the same. Andrew Talganov just coming down on his number 3 machine. So is Eric Hutton and Jeff Wright. Jeff Wright actually waiting quite a while to come down to pit lane. I'm a bit surprised.
Yeah, that was sort of surprising. Cervato's going to be out of pit road now. We'll see where he comes out compared to the 71. Mitch Welker, Ryan Kish right next to each other. Alex Bell coming off the pit road. Trying to look at where the 12 is in regards to the leaders. I don't know how much time that's going to gain him.
He's going to be in the lead. He's going to be, looks like about, there's Ryan Carlisle, the guy directly in behind, losing time as well. So AJ Cervato there, he is coming on by. So about 7 seconds and change. It's going to be the gap between Matthew Close and AJ Cervato. Interested in seeing how this plays out in the grand scheme of things. Here comes Carlisle. There you can see the gap between, maybe a 2-lap difference in tire. Not even 1 lap difference in tire. Caught Cervato about 2 seconds. That's a lot.
That was big for sure. I was so surprised Carlisle didn't make sure he got into pit road before Cervato, or at least, at the very least, follow him down.
Yeah, and Ray Massey, how about that? Big beneficiary from those pit stops, up into 4th place. Andrew Talganov 5th, Ryan Kish 6th, Mitch Welker in 7th. Pretty much cycling out to where he was. Alex Bell starting to hound the back of that 76 in 8th. Ben Laughter in 9th, and Chad Blum in 10th. So trying to take a look here. We saw sliding on down, that was Chad Klinger. Where on earth is he? Oh, he's way back, all the way back in 17th.
That's about 18 seconds off of Cervato. He definitely lost about 13 to that with his pit road, which is surprising he didn't lose more with the big spin he had there. Unfortunate to really not get a yellow. That's almost a yellow all the time, but iRacing said no on that one. So he'll have to try to gain some lost ground as much as he can at this point.
Alex Bell working his way past Mitch Welker. No real fight for position there. Up at the front, though, as you can expect, AJ Cervato chasing down Matthew Close fairly quickly. But before it was Close up 1 second on Cervato. Now it's the opposite. Cervato up about a second or so on Matthew Close. So this should not last for too terribly long. Although Matthew Close has got maybe about 10 laps more until he's going to come on down for his final stop. I'm really curious in seeing how this is going to play out for him. I don't think this is going to give him the win. I do think that this could give him a better place. Can you try to check where he was before he pit
11th.
that first time? He was 11th when he pit. Okay. So, I don't know. It may benefit him. It might put him pretty much around the same place, honestly, in my opinion. But, yeah, as you mentioned, we'll see. We have to wait till the end of the race, see what happens. If a caution does come out, though, in the next few laps, even if he's running in the top 5, top 10, if a caution comes out, everyone's going to come down for tires. So you could still benefit from that. We'll have to see.
Yeah, he's going to need to catch a yellow, but everyone's on new tires now, pretty much other than him. So it's at that point, it's going to be unlikely because we really only saw him slipping and sliding after about 25, 30 laps. Unless two people come together, probably won't happen. We'll see if he can get better than 11th. Eric Hutton, who's 11th now, is closing in on him pretty fast by a second and a half. So he's going to need to gain a lot of ground in this last run to be able to do that. He's coming out of turn 2. His last time exiting the corner as the leader, most likely.
Yeah, you can see from the blimp here, everyone pretty spread out across the entirety of the racetrack. Most of them on one side, but fairly spread out nonetheless. Not too many battles going on. Eric Hutton, as you mentioned, trying to work on the back of the 64, and also the pass for the lead. Just missed that. Just pulled an NBC there. I'm gonna try to and a Fox.
Pretty simple pass. Nothing for close to defend with, obviously. He's going to get in the way of Carlisle a little bit there. Everyone might not be too happy about that as he's trying to get all that ground back on Cervato. Last time by, he was about 0.2 faster, but will the tires be able to keep that pace?
Yeah, I really am surprised. I'm not sure about you, but I'm really surprised that he didn't try to beat Cervato down pit lane. Because that was the one bullet in the gun that he had, definitely over the 33. Didn't use it. And that was going to be their final pit stop. So now he's going to have to do it out on the track. So, I mean, I guess he maybe figured he'd rather have slightly fresher tires than slightly more worn tires to the 33. But he's going to have to use some of them, I imagine, a little bit to catch him, unless he just feels confident he's just outright faster. So we'll have to see here. He's going to really get no more chances unless a caution comes out. So this is all he's going to have to work with here.
I think letting the leader undercut you and then pitting right after him is one of the worst things he could have done there. I think you either undercut him because you're in second place right on his bumper. You have the advantage, the mental advantage especially. You beat him to pit road. That sends him in a panic, and he has to pretty much react to you to keep the lead, or at least have a shot at the lead.
Right.
If he beats you to pit road like Cervato did, you go longer as long as you can, get a bigger tire advantage. I just don't think that was the way to play that out at all.
Well, as you mentioned, guys, they had to make their bed to lay in it, and we were talking mostly about one stop versus two stop, but definitely applies to this scenario here with Carlisle just competing one lap later. Cost him a lot of time that is making up. But we always say in racing, catching is one thing, passing is another, and he's going to have some work to cut out for him, because I imagine Cervato not going to give up this fight very easily.
Cervato, he had Carlisle on the bumper the entire run last run. And this time he's going to have to do a little bit more defending than I think he did last run. I don't think there was much defending to the last run. I think it was just Carlisle riding his bumper just to ride his bumper and stay close to him and not make a mistake. I don't think Carlisle was going to be riding this time.
Here's Massey, working on Matthew Close. They're going to easily get by out of turn number 4. And there's also Andrew Telgoff now working on the back of Matthew Close. That's going to be for 4th place. So 12 dropping by through the order fairly quickly. Should be coming by back down pit road the next 3 to 5 laps.
Yeah, somewhere around there. He has to come in soon. He's just giving up so much time at this point in his run.
How about Ryan Kish? I haven't really talked a whole lot about him today. Very quiet day in the later part of the field, working his way up. Currently running in 8th position.
Back with the lead heats up, though. Carlisle's on the bumper.
And this is where they were pretty much where they left off that first stint. The second stint, I should say, after that caution. And back at it yet again. Now, I guess the big question is, Carlisle going to make the pass now or make it later? I would say maybe try to make it now while the tires are still fresh.
I mean, you see how fresh they are, though. He's surely had to use so much to gain 2 seconds in such a short amount of time. You need to make sure you have tires left to, defend once you get by him. But I think if you don't get by him now with the tire you used up, you might not have another decent shot at him without a yellow. Yeah,
because we saw at the end of this run, even though everyone was pretty much sliding around the racetrack, trying to defend. Speaking of which, here is Cervato trying to defend to the inside. Carlisle having a look up the inside. It's starting to get dicey up here.
After he closes pit, he'll drop back. Carlisle looking high off the corner. Cervato keeping it nice and tidy to the white line. Carlisle not much doing, no run out of 4. They'll stay in check as Ray Massey trying to chase him down but can't do much. Not much battling out throughout the field other than the one for the lead.
Great battle for the lead here. Guys going at it. We're 90 laps in. No clear winner just yet. Match is going to be one of these two guys, the 33 to 71. You just have absolutely no clue who it's going to be. You could say maybe Cervato's been the one with the advantage so far. We've seen out in the lead now. I think is probably going to be the one who's going to lead the most laps. 62 laps led. I think it's probably going to be a shoe-in for most laps led. But now Carlisle's starting to be more aggressive. Maybe he was hiding something earlier. We'll see if he's got anything in that. Virginia Tech, number 71.
You said he might be a shoe-in. No, he is a shoe-in. He's led over half of the laps, so that'll definitely be his title.
Oh, he did? Yeah, I can't do math. I apologize. Absolutely right about that. I'm thinking it was 160, so I was thinking 80, but yeah, oops.
Oops. Now look at Matthew Close. He was 11th when he made his first stop of the 2-stop strat. Now he's 21st, 1 lap down. He's right behind Doug South and Michael Hurley, a few seconds behind Hurley, actually. I don't think this is going to work out. I think there's too much ground to make up in a short amount of time.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, again, the guys, we do expect everyone else, especially towards the back end of the field, is going to probably drop off pretty significantly. So, I mean, for him, it's just a matter of climbing up through the order. He's half a lap back from where he probably should be, so in the realm of possibility, considering he can just push, everyone else is going to pretty much have to save till the end of the race. We'll go back up to our leaders here, because this battle can go south very quickly if we pull away for too long.
Just once again, I don't know if it's designed by Carlisle this time to just ride behind him, but it just seems like he's refusing to run another line to try to get by him. He's just trying to run into 33's tire tracks, maybe get close up to his bumper to get him sideways, but I just think it's going to take more than that to rattle the 33 of AJ Cervato's cage.
Oh, I definitely think it's going to take a lot more. I think he's going to actually legitimately have to rattle his cage by giving him a bit of a bumper. But typically, Carlisle is one of the more cleaner guys in the league, so I don't think he's going to really do that, especially second race in the season. I don't think he's going to resort to that. Or I could be wrong. You never quite know with some drivers. But I think he's going to try to do everything he can to pass 33 quickly. Unless he feels like he's done wrong, maybe that might get a little bit more aggressive. But for now, so far, battle remaining clean. Take a look back. Andrew Telgonov getting awfully close to the back of the 23 of Massey, who was looking like he was going to have a pretty slow start to his day, but up here in the top 3, holding off Telgonov.
Telgonov hit a lap later, so a little bit fresher tire. Same situation Carlisle is in right now as he starts to chase that 23 down. Massey, definitely the biggest mover, also the most popular Massey, as opposed to Michael. He's up 8 positions, 11th to 3rd. He's trying to hold on to that 3rd position. That 3 of Telgonov has been so quick.
Taking a look back at the leaders, man. Every time I see the gap get close, I feel like something's going to happen. Saw them snaking a little bit down the front straightaway. Nothing for Carlisle. He's trying to maybe have a look up the inside. It's almost looking like he's being a little bit too conservative at this point. It looks like he has the chance at some runs, just not taking the risk, which you can argue is a good thing, but he's starting to run out of laps. We've only got just over 20 laps left to go. This race is coming down, going to end fairly quickly.
This is the greatest battle that hasn't seen side-by-side ever, but here's a battle that is side-by-side. Chad Blum, Eric Hutton. Blum trying to defend from Hutton right now. He pit lap 78. Hutton also on fresher tires by a lap. He'll get by the 99. Jeff Wright, who also pit a lap later, he's going to have his shot at him.
Yeah, gonna have an easy run to the inside here of the 99. We saw all these guys duking it out for many laps. They're probably sick of seeing each other at this point. There goes the 48 on by. Now gonna set a slice on Hutton in the 7th place.
See if he can get to him. Once again, they're on even tires. Wright dropped back to Hutton on the final run. We'll see if he can do a little bit better on the tires this time to get a better finish. Both closing in on Mitch Welker, who short pit these guys by about 3 laps. So the 76 is going to start to fall into the clutches of a lot of drivers. Oh, boy.
Yeah, that was very close from that camera angle. Riding. Sorry, you're saying?
This is the highest we've seen the battle. It looked like Carlisle, they actually made a little bit of contact into one. The Carlisle finally tried to look at the right rear of Cervato entering the corner. Cervato kind of moved the track to defend that a little bit. He didn't just give the 71 that top line.
Coming down to the end of it here. Drivers coming off turn number 4 this time by. On the front straightaway seems to be where it's getting more dicey. Carlisle maybe a little bit stronger, but still gonna stay in the tire tracks.
Surprised how... Sorry about that.
No,
surprised how much of a difference one-lap tires are making throughout the field. Carlisle on Cervato. We've seen it taking off in Massey. Also the battle for 7th with Wright, Hutton, and Blum making a difference there. It's kind of surprising. Only one lap, making a pretty big difference.
And you're seeing Jeff Wright now working on Welker, 3-lap difference there. Wright going to easily get a run to the inside of Welker to see how easy Welker is going to make it or difficult.
They're going to be tight 3 wide off the corner. Hurley, the lap car on the top. It's going to get sideways. Welker's sideways. He's able to save it. Wright has the run now.
Yeah, he does. And Welker not going to have much to work with here entering the corner. Struggling a little bit more with his tires than Welker. Oh, sorry, than Wright. A little bit older entire life. And so Wright will get his way on by. Meanwhile, up at the front, a little bit of a gap, accelerating a little bit more. Here comes Carlisle trying to get a great run off the corner. Not quite as much as he would have liked. Gassed out maybe a little bit too early.
I think you got to get closer to his bumper in the center of the corner, and he's just, at the same time, though, he's not close enough to the bumper entering the corner to warrant that, because if you wanted to do that, he'd have to drive it in harder than he wants to, and you'd just be wasting a lot of right front tire doing that. He's losing a tiny bit of ground to the 33 now. He was right on the bumper maybe 5 laps ago, but just not close enough now. You wonder if those tires are gone by this point.
Just a quick little update on Matthew Close. Under 20 laps to go, currently sitting in 19th. 10 seconds back from 18th place Casey Lakatos. And Lakatos himself is 6 seconds back from David Mott. And then from there, everyone's within a second or so of each other. So still a lot of work for that 12 car to try to gain some spots.
Carlisle shoves the gas out of the center, but Cervato just way more smooth on exit. He's just able to open that gap back up to what it was entering.
You think that Carlisle might have exhausted his stuff up? Oh, I say that. He's coming in flying hot in turn 3.
He will be if he keeps doing that, but honestly, I do think those tires have taken his toll. I don't think he's going to have anything left to make the pass. I think that advantage was gone by the time he made up a 2-second gap in about 10 laps. It's going to be difficult to do because we haven't really seen, well, we have seen the top lane good enough for passes, but we really haven't seen a pass with a lead up there. That being said, Carlisle hasn't even come close to trying that yet.
Taking a look quickly at this battle for position between Ryan Kish and Brian Chamblis here for 10th position. Chamblis catching up to the 42, trying to work on him for position. But yeah, no, I mean, with the battle for the lead, I kind of hate to agree with you. I feel like Carlisle might have used up his stuff, might not have anything left to really give the 33, so he's kind of just stuck with not much else to do. Again, he could just absolutely go off into the corner and punt him out of the way. Definitely an option. Smart option? Probably not. But an option nonetheless.
It's not the logical option. It's not who Carlisle is. That's not how he drives. I'd be shocked if he ended up doing that. Even if he did do that, I wouldn't be surprised if it was on accident. He gets really sideways out of 4 there, loses a decent amount of ground. Still trying to look at the battle for 7th. Even on older tires, Mitch Welker holding up in 7th, but Hutton, Blum are just closing in on him now. Yeah,
I mean, only so much you can do, right, when you got your tires worn out. I'm a bit surprised. He would have been done a little bit better this run. I guess the fact that he was one of the earlier guys to come on down is probably not doing him any favors. So he's already at the start of this run has a disadvantage. Herrick, as you mentioned, Hutton and Blum closing in from behind. And actually Booster are starting to have their own little battle.
Yep, they're about to have a battle. Carlisle close to the bumper on Cervato again. Can't stay close enough to have a shot to get under him. They approach lap traffic of Casey Lakatos. Don't think Lakatos will stay in the way that much. Carlisle getting closer to the bumper in the center of a corner ever so slightly. Trying to get better runs on exit. Just getting the rear end a little bit too sideways to do anything.
Both drivers sailing off into 3 and 4, 13 laps to go when they get back to the line. Coming down to the end of there's the case. Lakatos that lap traffic that Connor mentioned. Should catch him probably before the end of the race, but only with a few laps to go, so it could be a factor. Maybe a weapon that Carlisle can use depending on where they catch him. Probably not, but you never know.
We took a look to the inside there, but couldn't get to that left rear. Lap traffic up ahead. We'll see what happens with the lap traffic behind. Matthew Close lapping 0.3 faster that time by. We'll see if he gets to that battle by the time this race ends.
Yeah, I mean, he's been trying to catch back up, but he's been trying to chase down Casey Lacatus this entire time, but he's still 5 seconds back from the number 50 car. So I think we can successfully say that the two-tire call was not the way to go.
Two pit stop call. I do believe he took 4 tires.
Sorry,
both times.
yes.
The only good thing about this is that he is in a lucky dog spot. But if anything, that's worse for the top 2, because if Lacatus gets lapped here, he's still, a yellow could still come out with 2 laps to go with the leaders coming off of 4. He's gonna have to still fight for that lucky dog.
Really interested in seeing if a caution comes out, because it's going to throw everything out the window. These guys are so focused this entire race and doing long runs. It's going to be coming down to a short run, and the guys who can really push will be the guys who can excel. I'm sure definitely more long run drivers like Cervato, Carlisle, Massey, Telgenov at this point, all of them benefiting from this race running green. Well, again, only a single caution this entire event. I think that they're going to be the ones that would hate to see a caution the most.
Yeah, for sure. Trying to look at some closer battles. 71 losing touch here, coming to 10 laps to go. Not as close as he has been in previous laps. Mitch Welker still holds down 7th. Blum's still trying to get there. Eric Hutton back to 9th now. Kish and Chamblis still right next to each other. Chad Klinger still trying to recover from his pit entry spin. Just got by Ben Lafter for 13th with Robert Gaba up ahead.
Yeah, and he's been making some decent progress on him, but man, did that incident cost him. It would have been probably beneficial if he tried to do a clutch kick and do a burnout and spin, like get a tire out past the white line to try to force the caution to come out. But, I mean, props to him for just trying to get the car back down and also not take anyone else out in the process, because that was a very awkward part to turn back onto pit road. So did a great job there. Unfortunately, it's going to cost him huge, dropping all the way back to 13th.
He still got in there cleanly. He did not get a penalty for that.
Yeah.
He got under the orange box, which they actually use in iRacing at this track. So that was a clean pit entry by rule.
9 laps to go. Does Carlisle have anything left to try to give the 33 of Cervato? We said that maybe not, but you never know. If Cervato makes a mistake or opens the door, hello, here comes the 71.
Here he goes. He's going to try it. They're going to make contact just about out of a corner. It's the first time we've seen them side by side. Cervato quickly shuts off that bottom. Carlisle goes high. Cervato back up to block it. They got one thing that Carlisle can use, and it's his front bumper. I just don't think he's willing to use it. Charges to the inside. They turns him. Contact. They spin.
Oh, door-to-door contact. They somehow remain straight. Cervato going hard into the outside wall. Well, that, I think, caught all of us off from surprise. I thought Carlisle was just going to run this out to the end, but made a move on Cervato. You can argue maybe who was at fault right there, but that got interesting very quickly.
The avid blocking started off of 4. I mean, we kind of saw that possibly coming. Try to look at it. Carlisle got under him. He charged under him. Cervato comes down the track there, and Carlisle's cleanly there. I can't really pin that on Carlisle for sticking his nose there, trying to go for the win. Maybe able to see it. I mean, you can see it right there. You can see the 33 cross that seam, clearly coming down on the right front of the 71, and then he can't gather it up before he's into the outside wall.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree there. I mean, there's nowhere really else for the 71 of Carlisle to go. I'm sure his conscience is probably clean. Maybe not in the eyes of the 33, but now he's going to have to, actually, I was going to say maybe you have to worry about the 23 of Ray Massey, but still some distance left to go. Sure, he's probably not the happiest man in the world at the moment.
I was surprised. It looked like Carlisle was finally losing touch and maybe ran out of juice, but all of a sudden off of turn 4, he was there. He got to the bottom, and it just completely took me by surprise. It was just a really, maybe sort of lulled the 33 of Cervato into thinking he had a false sense of security, or maybe Cervato just missed the line, but it was very unexpected.
I will say one thing. I absolutely love these race cars over the cup cars. That was awesome.
They are fun for sure. Oh man, what a blast!
Put on a heck of a show. Ryan Kish working on Brian Chamblis, one of the closer battles on track. Also should mention Mitch Welker, who's been holding on to 7th place for dear life, but it seems like he's been working out. I would have thought that Blum and Hutton would have probably passed him by now, but they still haven't gotten by with 5 laps to go, looking less and less likely. Blum trying to mount one last charge on that 76.
Just looking at everyone. Bell sideways off the corner. We're at the point of the run. Everyone started sliding. Still potential for a yellow of how loose these cars are getting. Oh, look at
man.
Chad Bloom. Chad Bloom sideways. He's able to save it again. Turn 2's a trouble spot for him. He's on the apron every 5 laps.
I was going to say, especially off of this corner, because I was got a mirror image of, whoa, that took half the straightaway.
Wow.
Just sort of, so let's ride on more with him. We saw earlier a similar scenario where he went all the way down to the white line there. Oh, yeah, that's a lot of wheel. Thought he had it under control. Oh, there you go.
My goodness.
I think it's going to be, I think a lot of these drivers are happy they paved the runoff off of turn number 2. Used to be grass not too long ago. And you can see all the pavement that these guys can use. Whoa, almost
use it again.
Almost had to use it again. Coming off of turn number 2, but able to save it this time.
3 laps to go now. Carlisle was definitely the winner out of that. He didn't just get the lead. He also doesn't have a damaged car. Somehow no damage out of that. Cervato got a very big amount of right front damage from hitting that wall as hard as he did. Just couldn't gather it until getting up into that wall. So he didn't get a shot back at the 71, which I'm sure he probably would have wanted.
Yeah, I'm sure also Carl just begging, hoping that a caution doesn't come out, because I can bet you if a caution comes out, he's going to go flying to the wall in turn 1 on the restart.
Oh, yeah. I would not be surprised about it one bit.
So he's just kind of hoping one more lap till the white flag. He's just kind of hoping that no one has any sort of issue, brings out a yellow, because his win may look less sure here. AJ Cervato running in second. No real threat from behind him from third. Massey trying to hunt him down. I think Cervato with a bit of a damage card, especially with not really so much from the turn, but that contact we saw with the outside wall not doing him any favors, but has enough car left. Should be able to hold on in second. And finally, out of turn number 4, Carlisle going to be seeing the second most flag you probably wanted to see is the white flag in the air for the number 71. Very quiet run for the most part, running up behind the bumper, the 33 for what, probably 80 laps? I would say almost 80 laps of this race. Very quiet driver. Finally decided he wanted to make a move, caught not only probably Cervato, caught us off guard as well. Punted him, probably not necessarily by his own volition, but made some contact with the 33 and has been able to check himself out and away. And out of turn number 4, Ryan Carlisle will see the checkered flag for the first time this season. Ryan Carlisle will win here at Homestead.
First win of his season, first win of his championship defense as Cervato comes home. Maybe a disappointing second. Let's see, that's a 23. Massey got close to him, but not close enough. Third, Telganov fourth. Alex Bell slides into turn 1 with a top 5, 5th place. Right, Welker. Welker holds on to 7th. Good drive for him. Blum, Hutton, and Chamblis to top 10.
Yeah, absolutely solid stuff there. Matthew Close, who we saw trying to race down everyone else, finished up in 18th place. Gonna probably kick himself. Strategy call was not the one to do the almost said 2 tires again, 2-stop strategy on the green flag run. Not the way to go, but definitely the 1-stop was, and Ryan Carlisle taking home the win here.
Pretty big win. Might put him in the points lead. Had a decent finish, if I'm not mistaken. Not sure where he finished at Daytona, but either way, he's going to shoot him with the points in a big way. Getting the first win of the season at a track like this, you win here. How slidey this track was and how worn these tires got. That was a big win for him, and he was not the dominant driver as far as laps led, but him and AJ Cervato dominated this race.
Yeah, let's take a look at the race results here once again. Fantastic stuff, incredible race. I don't think you can say you weren't entertained by that race. We knew Homestead was going to put on a bit of a show, but boy, did it deliver. Ryan Carlisle, as I mentioned again, your race winner. Cervato at a close second place. Hard-fought battle between all those guys for this event. Ray Massey sitting in third in the 23 car. And then entry tailgun off Alex Bell, your top 5.
Would have been interested to see what Massey could have done if he got to the front quicker. He got all the way up to third from 11th, really all the way from 16th where he dropped back to. He was definitely one of the faster cars tonight, but he never really had the track position to be able to run for the win. Telganov, good run for him, 8th to 4th. He was up top 5 majority. Bell ran well. Mitch Welker held on at the end of the day, and Chamblis with a solid run in 10th.
Absolutely. We go on to your second page of results here. Ryan Kish leading off just outside of the top 10. I'm sure still a really good run because he was running fairly quiet for most of the day, so definitely, I imagine, would probably take that. Looking at Chad Klinger in 12th, was able to come back. Also heard he was looks like he's not too happy in the chat. Had some contact with the 76. Not sure where that was, but I imagine at some point we probably missed that. Robert Gaba 13th, 14th, David Mott, Jonathan Anderson 15th, Ben Laughter 16th, Eddie Trejo in 17th, and Matthew Close in 18th. Sorry, didn't quite have the strategy call. Case Sakatis, not the best of days for him, with Doug South in 20th.
Yeah, Doug South just kind of riding at the back. Never got track position, couldn't do anything with it. And yeah, that's a unfortunate. Actually, looked back, Klinger had contact with Welker on lap 58. Welker running the top lane just kind of ran into Klinger's right rear, so that's where he was upset. Ended up, Klinger was still running fine at that point, but the spin on the pit entry was really what did his day in.
All right, we're gonna go to interviews here real quick, and we'll cut to, let's see, who do we want to do first? Let's do Andrew Telgonov, since he's waiting on by in 4th place.
Really would have made a difference.
Hey, Andy, it's SimTV. You got a copy?
Yeah, what's going on, man?
Nothing much. How are you doing? Saw you were able to come home in 4th place at the beginning of the run. Looked like you were kind of struggling a little bit, but picked it up in the second part of the race. Found something and managed to bring it home in 4th.
Yeah, I'm just glad to be out of that car, man, here in Florida, man. It's hot as hell. But yeah, we struggled pretty good there that first run trying to figure it out. Looked like Jeff was getting the top line to go in there, mid-run there, but I was trying that out too. Nothing was working, but I started to back the corners up a little more there, a little late in the run when it was a little too late, and we figured something out. So, that second run there, yeah, we definitely, we just got back in corners up here, man. It's just eating the hell. I think track temp was around 110, 115 there, and it was just increasing. So, hats out to the guys, the team, Billy Racing and Trejo. He didn't have a good run there in 17th, but just glad to be out of there. Jeff, big comeback there in 6th, and this is a big win for me, man, being here in 4th. A lot of guys, we all worked really good together this week, and yeah, again, this is a win to me. This is not one of my best tracks, but just I want to congratulate Ryan there on his win, and yeah, man. Again, just a hell of a run. Really shocked to be here, top 5.
Indeed. Thanks for talking to us, Andy, and we'll see you next week when we head to Atlanta. I'm sure you're going to be excited to head to Atlanta.
Oh, yeah. We'll see what happens.
Moving on, next we find Ray Massey in the 23. And Ray, gotta say, from you, also fairly quiet early on. You actually dropped back to 16th. Honestly, I was quite surprised. You just snuck your way up through the order. Tell us how you managed to pull that off.
Yeah, I'm a long run kind of guy. I'm terrible on cold tires, and I just wanted to bide my time. And the first caution, it came out at a horrible time. We were making waves through the field, and the caution came out, and that killed my move to the front. So stalled there, but the longer the run went, seemed to better my car got or maintain speed. So yeah, it's a good run.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a great run for you. Looking at the rest of the season, where do you think you may find another chance to pick up some solid points, maybe even get a win?
I don't know. I haven't run the B car much, so it's kind of a learning curve for me. I love Atlanta, where we go next week. It's one of my favorite tracks, so if I can figure out the car there, maybe I'll run up front there too.
Well, we'll see what you can do there. I know Andy's definitely looking forward to that. Has a pretty good runs at Atlanta. We'll see what you can do also there as well. And moving on to our second place finisher, AJ Cervato. AJ, I'm sure you definitely saw what happened from the copy of your car. Running up in the front, led the most laps today by a solid margin. I actually want to check how many laps you led real quick here. You led 83 laps today. Definitely, arguably the dominant car of today, but didn't come home with the win. Walk us through what happened.
Yeah, man, I just honestly, I know I can be a pretty good driver, but I think that just throughout the race, I could have drove a better race and gapped, I think, a little bit more throughout certain parts of the run. I would just send it in, I think, a little bit too hard in like 1 especially, and whoever would be behind me in second kind of would catch up, and it was just hard to kind of gap a little bit just on my own wrongdoing. I think pitting a lap early, I thought it was going to be a pretty viable strategy. I think I could have held off Ryan, but I kind of got held up a little bit entering my pit box or exiting, one of the two. I think it was entering. I had to like really check up, and that probably cost me about a second. And during green flag stops, that's very valuable for tire saving. But yeah, Ryan and I had a hell of a battle. That was a lot of fun, man. I got a shout out to Ryan for that. He could have dumped my shit, excuse my language, about 2-3 times, and he didn't. And I contact at the end, I came down on him. That was 100% my fault. Just hard battling at the end with a boat dump truck setup, but it was all fun. Glad to finish second. Just got to do, I think, a little bit of a better job.
That's $100 fine for the language. I'm just kidding. No, I don't care. No, that was a great battle. Glad to see you guys on good terms. Also a little bit disappointed. I was hoping you guys would be kind of ready to kill each other, but great to see some good racing, some good hard racing. You guys were nose to tail for God knows how many laps. I think like 80 laps or so, nose to tail, just running each other. It was great fun to watch on TV. Hopefully, I'm sure you both were ready to watch that back. But AJ, thanks for talking to us, and we'll look forward to seeing what you can do next week. What names get the win this week? Maybe next week.
We'll see, man. Have a good one, brother.
You too. And last but certainly not least, got the 71 of Ryan Carlisle in the booth with us. And Ryan, you were in second for a large majority of that race, and I'm trying to see how many laps you led, because I think it was probably less than 10. Exactly 10. You led exactly 10 laps today. And yeah, after that swift move at the end, I think it caught all of us off guard because we weren't expecting you to do anything at that point. We thought you were just kind of, you use up your stuff, you're just going to ride in second, but pull that move, walk us through that.
Yeah, I mean, AJ was being very tough to pass. He was taking away the line that I wanted to run, and I couldn't really get to turn off the seam. So I kind of just had to keep poking and poking and poking and poking, and finally got him to make a mistake, and we were side by side there, and I did a little bit of contact, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Definitely looked like a lot of fun out there on the track. Obviously, you're the man defending your crown from last season's title in a different car, but clearly it looks like you're fitting to it well. How do you think you feel pace-wise compared to the rest of the field from the next gen to the Xfinity car? Do you think you still have the chance at getting on the championship?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it's still the same. The same people that are fast in the next gen are fast in the B cars. So, yeah, I think I still have a good chance.
I want to check a look at the standings here. Not sure if it's updated. No, not updated. Let's see. Where did you finish at Daytona?
I got in the last wreck. I think I finished like 26th.
Oh, okay, never mind. So I was curious. So I didn't remember you in a wreck, but I guess I'm misremembering it wrong. So definitely not a chance of taking home the points lead at the moment, but a few more runs like this, wouldn't be surprised to see you up near the top, Ryan. Thanks for talking to us, and best of luck next week.
Thank you.
All right, with that, that's going to wrap up interviews here from Atlanta. Definitely did not disappoint, Connor.
Hopefully next week Atlanta won't disappoint. Homestead definitely didn't disappoint. Very fun. I love this track, especially with the Xfinity cars, how they slip and slide. We saw the tire fall off come into play, no doubt about it. We pretty much got full runs to the very end. 2 full runs pretty much. We got a 30-lap run at the beginning as well. It was very fun to watch. We had comers and goers. We had drivers good on the short run, like Alex Bell and Jeff Wright, Mitch Welker. And then we had the guys on the long run, sort of like Andrew Telganoff, Ray Massey. And we saw those two, Ryan Carlisle and AJ Cervato, who were just a league above everyone else, and they were nose to tail the entire race, and push come to shove at the end. And that's contact racing. Like that happens sometimes when it seemed like that dominant line was on the seam and the top wasn't really working as well as we might have expected it to. Carlisle made his move, and Cervato just couldn't defend it in time. And Carlisle with a pretty big win to start his title defense.
Yeah, absolutely. Great start of the season. Much more to come, not only on Outsiders Racing League. Again, next week they're going to be at Atlanta. So definitely a race to check out, but also on SimTV coming up. Let's see, trying to take a look here. Next race coming up is also a race on Tuesday. I thought it was actually another Sunday race. It's going to be on Tuesday. It's going to be the Milwaukee Mile for the Indy Elite Series. There's going to be some great action coming from there. Going to be a great race on the short track, very flat, and also just an underutilized track. Can put on some great racing there in Milwaukee. So looking forward to those races coming up on the schedule for SimTV. But for now, it's going to be myself and Yakuna with Connor Horn here. We're going to be signing out. Thank you for watching.